Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live or listens in the replay. And just always thank you all. If you're listening to the chat, even if you're listening to this in the replay, feel free to type into the chat while you're listening. Your city where you're listening from, the state that you're listening from, country if you're not listening in the United States. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live or listens in a replay. This is the Vault episode 252, Fear Index. And we just really appreciate everybody that always tunes in live or listens in a replay. It's always important to just kind of go over the topics that we go over. The Fear Index today is going to be one that is always important because we see people in the marketplace and we just see a lot of fear being perpetuated. We share with trustees that fear is a tactic and a weapon of the wealthy. We share with trustees that fear is a tactic of the elite. Fear is a tactic of pretty much war. You want to put in as much fear into your opponent so you can paralyze them from doing and from taking action. And so the reason why fear is actually acronymed in the title is because it's false evidence appearing real. So if you ever heard fear in the terms of false evidence appearing real, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of catalysts coming up in the marketplace, whether it's the election, whether it's right now we're in earnings season. If you don't know, in the United States and some other countries where companies are reporting their earnings throughout October and November, and we're seeing earnings come in and people reporting earnings right now. People are fearful at times, but it's false evidence appearing real. Why? We can point out right now, ladies and gentlemen, that if things were going to go bad, how is it that the stock market is back up? Oh, well, people say, well, they pumped it with quantitative easing. They pumped it with stimulus package. Ladies and gentlemen, if it wasn't for the stimulus package, people would be on the street already. So there is no need to fear. People have indirectly voted for the stimulus packages that have been given around the world. There is no need to fear when the government has capitulated to welfare. The government has capitulated. They said, we have a population of people that want stimulus. We're going to give it to them. They weren't fearful. So how is the economy fearful? How do we have fear in the marketplace? Appreciate Tulsa for tuning in live, listening in the replay. Always appreciate Tulsa, Oklahoma. How do we have fear in the marketplace if there's a stimulus package that's come? It's helped people stay in their properties. People are still not even paying their rents at this point. But people say there's a fear to be, the dollar is going to be replaced. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to stop catering to fear. Fear is what paralyzes you from taking action, whether that's enrolling in trustee training or moving forward with your life financially. Why? Because it's earnings season. And guess what? For the past quarter, guess what? GDP rose. People are shopping again. People are getting their jobs back. People are going to wear their masks while they're working. People are going to wear their masks while they're out and about. The fear index is to prey on people's weakness. It's to prey on people's emotions. This episode is for you to question whether you're fearful, whether you're going to let fear run your life. How many times has fear stopped you from doing something? Fear, false evidence appearing real, something that didn't even really happen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a marketplace right now where people say, the dollar is going to go down. The dollar's losing power. The dollar is actually gaining value right now. Why? Because when there is fear in the marketplace, where do foreigners put their money? In the United States. Where do foreigners vacation? In the United States. They go to Atlanta. They go to California. They go to New York to sightsee. They go to Chicago to sightsee. They go to Texas to sightsee. They go to Florida to sightsee. But oh no. The fear index says, oh no, people aren't traveling right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Don't let fear stop you from learning the facts. Go get on the flight. Go get on flights right now. There are people flying right now. There are people utilizing alternative forms of transportation, such as traveling on airplanes, such as traveling on trains. Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. When we talk about fear, they got these commentators. They come on the air. Oh, you should be fearful of this. You should be fearful of that. The United States dollar is going to go to trash. It's going to. They think about the stupidity that these people are saying. They live in the United States and they're literally betting against their own currency. They're betting against their livelihoods. If the dollar goes to trash, if the dollar resets, how is that good for you and your livelihood? But this is fear that they're preying on your emotions. Oh, there's fear in the marketplace. The dollar is going to not be the world's reserve currency anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States is capitalism. What are these other countries that's going to step up and take the place of capitalism, where you have an opportunity to go from zero to hero? What is going to take the place of zero to hero? Cuba? No. China? No. China's the reason why the world's in the situation they're in, because they couldn't contain a virus in their country. And people are going to, you can't even buy Chinese yuan. You don't even know how manipulated their market is. Their market is manipulated more than the United States. But people think China's going to step up and be the big bad wolf. How many people are vacationing in China right now? How many people are looking at vacation spots in China right now? They're not. They might be looking at offland China, which is Hong Kong. They might be looking at Singapore. But no one's looking at mainland China to go vacation. No one's looking at Japan right now, where people walk around with masks all year because the air is so bad. People talk about California and the air being bad in California. But what about the air in Japan? Go buy a ticket and go to Japan. But oh no. People want to talk about the dollar not being able to hold up through the pandemic. It's not going to make it through the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, people love the dollar because they know that the dollar is a free market. They're going to allow the market to correct itself. People want the government to manipulate everything. That's what happened in Venezuela. And Venezuela had an exodus of people leave their country. Venezuela's in shambles right now. Venezuela is part of OPEC. The United States is forcing these automotive companies to fire people indirectly. You say, how is that the case, Trust Christian? Ladies and gentlemen, if they keep pushing companies to go to green friendly, well, last time we checked, is your only car green friendly? Are you only riding in gas, or are you only riding electric? The government's trying to force these companies to go green friendly. They say, oh, it's climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, the temperature is not rising. You got to look at stats. You have to go do historic data. Global warming? Is that a hoax? That's a part of the fear index, ladies and gentlemen. It's to drive these companies into a position where they have to fire people. But they're going to tell you, oh, well, if we go green friendly, if we go less carbon emissions, we'll replace those jobs with what? Automation? Human labor produces emissions. What about automatic tools? They don't produce as many emissions. But people say go green friendly. The fear index is what drove all these other countries. They're driving them out of business right now. Do your research on Venezuela. They were one of the largest oil producing countries. Where are they at right now? Their country is in shambles. They're going down a drain. They hope that they can recover. Well, what about Germany? Germany is a car automaker. Beamer, Benzes, Audis. But do they make electric cars prevalently? No. They're putting restrictions on these gas-producing car companies. That's the fear index. But you think these car companies are going to keep hiring people when the government keep putting taxes on them? Ladies and gentlemen, the fear index is very real. You got these talking heads that sit on TV and they tell you, oh, the market's driven by fear. The market's not driven by fear. It's only two things that drive the economy: businesses and consumers. Businesses and consumers. It's not fear. If the producers don't produce, it's supply and demand. The consumers aren't in demand. Are the consumers in demand? Ladies and gentlemen, if you knew how much consumers were demanding electronic products right now, where's the fear? If you knew how much technology-driven demand there was in the marketplace right now, where's the fear coming from? The fear's coming from the media. The fear's coming from these stations that say, oh, don't vote for capitalism, vote for socialism. Vote for where everyone's created equal. They're not, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's not working. If you don't want to live in capitalism, why don't you want to go live over in Europe, in countries where they tax their economy, they tax their employees 65%? You want to live in a country where they tax the people 65%, 40%? Americans are crying about 35% taxes. Why would Europe be a better place to live than America right now? And this is what you have to decide in the election. Are you going to vote for higher taxes? Or are you going to vote for no fear? Just wear a mask and keep it moving. But oh, no. People want to be driven by fear. See, ladies and gentlemen, the people that listen to the vault, there's a few different type of mindsets. Shout out to Alaska. Appreciate Alaska for tuning in live, listening to the replay. See, there's two different type of mindsets in the marketplace. Are you driven by fear? Oh, you can't make it as an entrepreneur. 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Isn't that the fear pitch to be an entrepreneur? Well, guess what? What do employees turn out when they turn 65? They turn out dead or dead broke, depending on their family members, depending on socialism and their government. They can barely live off the $1,500, the $1,200, the $1,800 that they paid into Social Security. Can you live in New York on $1,800 in Social Security outside of medical expenses? Can you live in California off $1,800? You could barely live off Miami with that. Can you live off in Texas? Maybe, depending on where you're living. Texas cost of living is going up. Can you live off that cost of living in Atlanta? $1,800 in old age? Well, guess what? We see home building going up in Atlanta because it is turning into a retirement state, just right under North Carolina and South Carolina. You think older people can survive in cold winters in Chicago? Can they live off $1,800 in Chicago? Can they live off $1,800 in Minneapolis? But people want to drive the marketplace off fear. Well, the dollar's going to trash. Ladies and gentlemen, why are you okay listening to people that are saying the dollar's going to trash? Get gold and silver. We're not saying gold and silver is not a quality reserve savings. But, oh, they printed so much money, the dollar has to go to trash. Why would that be okay, ladies and gentlemen? Why would it be okay for the dollar to go to trash, ladies and gentlemen? If you live in the United States, why would it be okay? Well, history repeats itself, Trust Christian. Ladies and gentlemen, when you have people like Donald Trump in office, they're going to make sure that that businesses can prevail, which they have. The market is rallied. It's already rallied. What little bit of dip it did, it's rallied. But people say, oh, the dollar's going to trash. They're printing out too much money. The government, they're looking for the Great Reset. The Great Reset, huh? The United States is going to win because they allow people to sink or swim, to think or fail. You have to think in this economy. You cannot think. With technology at its peak right now, you have to think. You can't wait for someone to give you answers. You can't wait for it to come out on the news. If you're listening to the news, ladies and gentlemen, you're already days and weeks behind the true economy. The private market is the true economy. That's why trustee training is so important. So you can learn how to look at the private indicators, not just the public indicators. You have to be able to see the economy months in advance, years in advance. We pointed this out on the episode about the truckers. The truckers think, oh, well, we'll be safe for another year. We'll be safe for another decade. How? Tesla's creating automatic vehicles. They already have reports that rental cars, businesses are going to adapt the technology before consumers. Automated vehicles, they're going to partner with Google. They're going to partner with Uber. They already have the data. Apple is going to sell the technology. They already have the analytics. How long have these programs been around? They've been around for at least 3 to 4 to 5 years. They have enough data already. The technology is here to stay. They're going to replace jobs, but they're not going to bring jobs back. How are they going to bring jobs back? Do you have an education in coding? Do you have an education in programming? That's where the jobs are. Do you have an education in technology development? Digital design? But people think, oh, manual labor, manufacturing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of the industrial age. We are in a technology age. You have to think. If you haven't been groomed to think, it's because you went to public school. So public school said, yeah, get a job where you can work in a manufacturer in the Midwest. Those jobs have left. Why did the manufacturer plants leave? Because they wanted cheaper labor. Well, why is the technology era replacing those jobs on the daily with automated machines? All of those manufacturing jobs are being brought back to America, but they're being brought back where the government is imposing restrictions, saying we need you to make your company green friendly. What does green friendly mean? It means technology friendly. It doesn't mean labor friendly. It doesn't mean human friendly. It means technology friendly. Well, if you can't replace or code anything, you're done. Appreciate the Bronx for tuning in live, listening in a replay. Technology is getting ready to place all these jobs in the marketplace where people are standing behind a counter looking like they have a bad attitude, can barely answer your questions. Remember when you used to hear that the customer was always right? How is the customer always right when you have a technological device in front of them that only takes in input, and if you don't put in the proper input, you don't get to move forward on the screen? The customer's not going to be always right anymore. That business model is dead. The customer is always right. Companies were losing business. Blockbusters out of business. Oh, yeah? Yeah, Blockbusters out of business. How many businesses have gone out of businesses? These bookstores, they've gone out of businesses. Business. Amazon stole their business. Amazon not only took over the book market, they're so big now, they're giving you your everyday goods. They're taking over box stores like Walmart. Walmart can't compete with Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. You all know who Walmart was. Walmart has the top 5
Top 10 richest families in the world. Literally, in Forbes, Fortune for 100 alone. In the top 5, in the top 10 richest people, Forbes has 4 Waltons in the top 10, top 20. 4 Waltons. That means they split their family wealth up 4 times, and they still are the richest, one of the richest families publicly in the United States. What do you think Amazon is about to be when he splits up his fortune? The fear index, though, right? The fear in the marketplace. Oh, you can't create a company. We saw some information come out about the IMF. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing is stimulus go out to the world. It's time for you to take technology to these other third world countries so you can develop these countries so they can have clean water, so you can have technology clean up the waterways, so you can have technology clean up the environment. So you can have technology preserve the environment. But how many of you all are preparing for the green revolution, which is the technological revolution? How many of you all are preparing for that? How many of you all are going to take the risk right now and say, I'm going to move to another country. I'm going to get money from the World Bank. I'm going to get money from the IMF, instead of saying that it's all over because there's going to be a global reset on the dollar. There's not going to be a global reset on the dollar. There's going to be a wealth transfer in front of your face. And you're going to look back 10, 20 years, and you're going to say, oh, damn. Remember when people were scared to put their credit card on the internet? Guess what? Google saves your credit card. Not only does Google and Apple and Samsung save and Amazon save your credit card, they're tracking your email transactions. So when you log into your Facebook and you log back on, Facebook knows what you bought because they have pixels on their website. So they can see the websites that you're surfing on and that you buy products through your credit card. Data analytics is huge. Data collection is huge. But are you training your children to go get a job, to go create a business, and data collection, data storage, data analytics? No, you're telling your kids to go work at Starbucks. You're telling your kids to go get a job in communications. You're telling your kids to go get a job in business. It doesn't matter anymore. A business degree is worthless. You have to go into technology-driven fields where the data is important, where the software and the hardware is important. It's not about owning the business. It's about controlling it. See, it's trust Christian, own none, control everything. You don't even have to own the data nowadays. You just got to get access to the data so you can be in control of it. Whoever's collecting the data is king. Whoever's selling the data is queen. You're never going to run out of customers that want access to data. Why do you think they're pushing technology to go to these other countries? How can they even track that there's over 7 billion people on the planet right now? How can they track that? Ladies and gentlemen, 1900, there wasn't even 2 billion people on the planet. In less than 120 years, the world has grown over 5 billion people. How do they have track of all of these people? Through technology. That should already let you know that we are in and we're getting knee deep. We're getting to critical mass 2020 in the information age, the knowledge age. See, this is the knowledge age. It's all about who has the knowledge, who has the data, who has the access to the information. We're in the information age. But guess what? How many people have invested in maintaining their privacy throughout this process? Have you invested in your privacy? Have you invested in your private education? But you got the public education for free, huh? It's easy to get the public education for free, but are you investing in your private information? See, you got to acquire private information because guess what? People say, oh, there's no privacy. Google and Facebook, they're all stealing our information. Hold on. You're volunteering that information to them. Are you maintaining your privacy? Did you pay for the private information like they're getting your public information for free? Did you invest in how to maintain your private education? Did you invest in how to maintain your private family information? Did you maintain in how to maintain your private family estates information? Does Google have access to all your family's information for free? Are they selling your data for free? Is Facebook selling your data for free? They are, but they're not. They're selling it at a cost. They're marketing companies, ladies and gentlemen. These companies are making $70 billion, $90 billion a year off of selling data. That's the beginning. You have to collect the data, the stats, the information, so we can know what to do with the data. See, as private people, we invest in information. We invest in private education because we understand that data is the most valuable thing in the marketplace right now. Whether it's trust, whether it's charity. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. How long is charity going to be around? But the fear index tells you, oh no, the dollar's going to trash. Guess what? These people that are promoting that message, they have charities. They get to take care of poor people for a tax deduction. They get to write off their family estates in perpetuity. They get a tax break for providing charities for poor people in perpetuity. The Rockefellers and the Carnegies, their last names aren't working, but they do have homeless shelters. They do have places to further the arts because they invested in the information. Rockefeller didn't even have a high school diploma. Neither did Carnegie. But you have degrees out there. And they're broke. They're in debt. Because they didn't invest in the proper information. So that's why fear is permeated in the marketplace. It's easy to promote fear. Have you ever heard of mob mentality? When people start rioting in the streets, they say, we can't release all of these different records because there's going to incite fear. Wow, what are you scared of? What are you scared of? Who's your maker? Is it the government? But people want to incite fear. How many people are going to step up and start a business in 2020 saying this is it? We're not going to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. But they are. Because they're living in fear. Because they don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what business I'm going to do, Trust Christian. I've been wanting to do business my whole life. But I don't know what business I'm going to get into. You just got to open up a business. Did you know that a business, when you apply for an LLC, doesn't have to have an industry right off the rip? You just need to start an entity outside of yourself. It's own nothing, control everything. You're investing in private information. You're investing in the information. Oh no, you're investing in yourself. How many people fear investing in themselves, but you're willing to go to work at someone else's job? Hold on. You're fearful to take a risk on yourself right now? Do you hear that? Can you look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, but you're not willing to invest and take a risk on yourself, but you're willing to risk getting in the car? They say there's more car accidents than it is airplane crashes. Okay. But people get in the car every day, sit in rush hour traffic. So there's more car accidents and deaths every day than it is airplane fights. And people are scared to get in an airplane. But then what about the fear of starting your business? So did the fear index of the Small Business Administration, the people at SCORE, did they scare you and say, hey, 95% of the businesses fail? You've been programmed for failure because you got a public school education. You've been programmed to get a job. You've been programmed to be told what time to get up, what time to eat lunch. Remember when you went to school, you were told what time to come to school. You remember when you went to lunch, you heard the little bell ring? That's what time you go to lunch. And then you heard the bell for when you could go home every day. They programmed you for a job. So you program, but you won't take a risk on your family. Hold on. Then on the weekends, they programmed you to sleep in. Like it's summer vacation. Why don't you get up and take the risk on yourself and get up like it's your job on the weekends? Because you don't want to take a risk? Because the fear index says, well, if you put in time, if you put in effort, you might fail. Ladies and gentlemen, people like to make fun of Donald Trump. Did Donald Trump have businesses that failed? Yes. But then you got these other guys. They don't want to admit their failures. Donald Trump has admitted he's had businesses fail. But are you willing to take, and he's still a billionaire. But are you willing to take a risk to even just retire in dignity? Are you willing to take a risk and be in control of your financial future? Are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to take that risk? Or are you going to let some financial advisor who can barely afford $1,000 suit that goes sits in some office and they're driving a beater to work? They're carrying peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in their briefcase. They're living on credit card debt. They got student loans. See, we're talking to a specific person at the vault. We're not talking to the fearful ones. We're talking to the ones that are going to take a risk on themselves. Are you going to have enough love for yourself to take a risk in yourself? Do you love yourself that much? People don't. We see it every time. They contact the vault. They hear how much trustee training is. Oh man, I don't know when I'm going to contact you back, Trust Christian. I'm not going to go find people that want to work with me. We already know who listens to these episodes. The ones that got guts. The ones that love themselves. The ones that are anti-fear index. That the dollar's going to trash. All they do is talk about fear in the marketplace. Why? Because it sells. See, self-love doesn't sell, does it? You got to have morals. You got to have principles. You got to stand up for yourself. When you love yourself, you got to tell people, don't confuse me with the facts. The fact is, when you go to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, when you go to the Social Security Administration, they say out of 100 people, only less than 5% will be financially independent. That means 95% of the people in America, by the time they reach the age of 65, will be dead or dead broke. How many elderly people listen to this? Over 45 that take care of their older parents that they can't even take care of themselves. How many of you all younger, under 35, see your parents taking care of your grandparents? Why are they taking care of their grandparents? You think that's okay? Are you working your whole life to put that burden on your kids? Guess what they're doing in China? That's what they're doing. That's why they won't make it. And China has birth restrictions. Do you have enough love for yourself to take a risk on yourself and start a measly $150, $250, less than $300 business? Starting from zero to hero? You all need to Google the stories. I was looking at this interview with Jeff Bezos the other day at Amazon. Jeff Bezos looks different now. You want to know why? Because Bezos, he focused for 20 years. He started Amazon in his 30s. It's not too late for you younglings. It's not too late for you if you're in your 30s. It's not too late if you're 25 and up. It's not too late. You just got to start. You got to get around the right people. You got to invest in yourself. You got to be willing to leave family and friends behind. Jeff did. Jeff's a billionaire. You think Jeff talks to the same people he did when he wasn't a billionaire? Jeff took a risk on himself. He loved himself. He loved himself enough not to be a part of the 95% of failures. People are preying on your weakness. They're preying on your emotionalism, like they did in public school. Why did public school not program people to start businesses? Because it's against the system. The teachers got a job. How can they tell you to own a business and they got a job? It's a conflict of interest. They were in student loan debt. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let people prey on your weakness. False evidence appearing real. The fear index. What is your capacity for handling risk? Why do you think the wealthiest people are called asset managers, risk managers? Because we handle risk. We handle the pressure of every month when the bills are due. We're still working because we understand we got to push through that moment of not knowing where the next check's going to come from? Are you that scared to say, I can't live without the 2 weeks in a paycheck? Think about it. Most people that get 2 weeks in a paycheck, they actually are broke. They're living paycheck to paycheck. How is that okay? So you're living paycheck to paycheck every 2 weeks, but you won't take the risk to go month to month? Because of fear. Because someone told you that 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. But this episode is for the people that are going to take the risk. The people that are going to step up for their families. How can you not step up for your family? Men, you have wives. You have children. Are you going to set the example for your children? Are you going to be a beggar for the rest of your life? A beggar? Are you okay with being called a beggar? You're not gonna be classified as a producer? You're not gonna be classified as a server that services people through a service company? Oh man, trust Christian, Christian, ain't no money out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the stimulus money was for businesses as much as it was for the everyday man. It was to make businesses stay open so they can hire people. Well, guess what? When you know the numbers, the fear index, the fear index says that the economy's not growing. But see, we look at the employment numbers. They've gone up month to month over the past 2 months. So hold on. If people were locked in their houses like they are in New York and other places, hold on. How is the economy growing there? Because people are moving to the South. They're moving to the Republican states where the governor said, we got to let the free market be free. We can't let them live in fear. We can't just say we got to protect the vulnerable. We have to give quality sound medical advice. Hey, wear a mask. That's it. Live your life. Produce. But we got people living in fear. They're preying on your weakness. How can you want the dollar to go down? Well, they're printing money and it looks like history. Did you study history? The United States is the biggest kid on the block. The United States isn't going anywhere. The ones under them will crumble before the big kid will fail. And you're living off of that inflated dollar. So how are you okay with losing a standard of living in your life? That means more foreigners will come live over in America then. Why? Because it'll be cheaper to come over to America then. That's what's going to happen. And that's what's happening right now. People are vacationing in the States like never before. Why? Because the States is partially open. But what did the president have to do? He had to lock down these foreigners from coming in the States. Do you see the paradox? Ladies and gentlemen, don't let fear drive your life. You got to take calculated risk. Why do they give these disclaimers with the financial advisors and these medical practices? Well, look, we got to put out a disclaimer. Why do they got to put out a disclaimer? Because it's a 50-50 chance. How much are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you telling us at the vault that you won't take a 50-50 chance on yourself? You're willing to let some guy, some woman, they're in student loan debt, but they're a financial advisor. Does that make any sense? How can you be a financial advisor and you're in debt? We thought that was stupid when we talked to him. Why don't you ask your financial advisor? Are you in student loan debt? Yeah, you're fired. You haven't even used the same practices to help yourself not be in financial debt. But you want to advise us. Hold on. What about the 45-year-olds that are still in student loan debt? What about the 50-year-old? How do you get the 50 and you're still in student loan debt? You're 50 and in student loan debt. You're broke. That's what's going on. the fear index. But you got to trust him because he has CFP behind his name. He has CFF behind his name. He has all these different, he's a chartered financial advisor. Whatever he is, he's got all these letters behind his name, but he doesn't have the fruit on the tree. That's why we talk about mentorship at the vault. You got to seek mentors that are where you want to be in life. They actually have the fruit on the tree. Their tree's not hanging over from death and destitute, strangling and struggling. If they got fired tomorrow, they'd be in a soup line or asking for welfare. If they got fired from their financial position. And they're about to get replaced by algorithms. Everybody's come to us recently at the vault with these algorithms for the day trading right now. Everybody wants to day trade right now. They got algorithms for day traders. They're going to eat them up. Guess what? See, you all have heard the baseball analogy from the vault. When you get in trustee training, you hear the baseball analogy. But they got algorithms for the algorithms. And then the hedge funds got algorithms for the algorithms at Acorn. And Acorn has algorithms for its day traders. Do you hear how technology is replacing the financial advisors? You don't even need a financial advisor. Aren't they pushing Acorns to teach you how to invest? The financial advisors are being replaced by algorithms. The fear index. Ladies and gentlemen, make it a point to take a risk on yourself. Get a consultation. Christian that trusts Christian. Do something. Invest in yourself. We're not pushing fear at the vault. We're pushing wealth, success, independence. Not dependent on the government. The government doesn't make anything. They don't make anything. They what they do is they make laws like estate tax, inheritance tax, probate tax, gift tax. Hold on. So the government doesn't make anything except for laws, but they're trying to take you off of your wealth after you built it your whole life. That's the fear index. The false evidence appearing real. You don't have to participate in that game. Donald Trump's not. That's why he doesn't have any personal tax returns to show. That's why none of the politicians do. They show you what they want to show you. False evidence appearing real. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to reach out, christianandtrustchristian.com. We're sick and tired of this fear index stuff. People talking about the dollar's going to fall. Go ahead and put all your wealth in gold and silver. Well, gold and silver to the vault is savings. We've always talked about it. It's not an investment. We talked about the insurance. You get a policy on yourself. If you pass, it goes into the trust. It goes into the foundation. You move forward. These are simple wealth producing and wealth preservation tools. How can you succeed if you don't even have the tools to succeed? Did school prepare you for wealth building, or it prepares you for poverty, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck? Don't go start a business. Go get a job. It's secure. Well, we already know what most people want to do. Go get a job. Because it's easy. They don't want to strike out on their own. They don't want to work long hours. They want to be a part of this whole gig society. They want to be a part of the work less society. Who do you know that's successful? That really is working less than 40 hours a week, even in the current times, on their computer. But oh no, we got the day traders thinking that they're going to make a run for the money. Sure they are. Sure they are. They're not. They're creating algorithms for the day traders right now. Through all of these free websites where they give you low commissions, no fees. How are they going to charge you no brokerage fees when they're a broker? They have to put a tax on it. But oh no, we're not going to charge you any fees. That's right, because they're collecting the data and selling it to the people that are creating algorithms for you to lose. The stock market is a zero-sum game. There's always got to be a winner and a loser. We did our part at the vault. It's time for you to do your part. Invest in yourself. Take a risk on yourself and not participate in the fear index. Christian and trust Christian. Appreciate you all for tuning in live and listening to replay. Peace.